All right. Hello and welcome to the newest episode of the New Year's Six podcast. I'm going to be wrapping up the week one preview prediction videos with our Sunday night game, LSU versus USC, neutral site over in Vegas. The third straight year that LSU will be opening at a neutral site on Sunday night. Went 0-2 the last 2 years. They're looking to change their luck this year. USC is looking to come out the gate strong with a win over a top SEC opponent. And it should be a good one. Great way to keep the weekend going and get everyone moving along here. So with that, I'll just get right into our preview and prediction, and I'll move on with LSU. I'll start with them first. So what is it going to take for LSU to win this game? So from the portal, the one player they brought in that I think is kind of interesting is CJ Daniels. He comes in from Liberty as a grad transfer. Is CJ Daniels the next great LSU wide receiver? Now, obviously, LSU has no problem getting the ball through the air. Especially last year when they had Jaden Daniels, they were a top 5 passing offense, and the receivers benefited from it. We'll see what the offense looks like with Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback now. But I'm very curious how CJ Daniels plays into this offense, what he contributes, and can he be the next Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or Malik Neighbors? I don't even think he needs to get to that level. If he just is a serviceable receiver that beats DBs and goes yard, brings it home, then LSU could be in some business. But is CJ Daniels that X factor for this LSU receiver corps that lost a lot of their key production? Can Daniels be the guy that that steps up from Jaden Daniels to CJ Daniels, the next player in line to step up for LSU? Could it be the case? We're going to find out in week one. And it's against a USC pass defense that was outside the top 100 last year. So it could be a feast or famine for LSU. And with that matchup, it may be a feast. In terms of what LSU has done really well in the past that they need to keep doing, LSU is phenomenal on third down offense. So just continuing to be phenomenal on third down offense. They were number 2 in the country last year. And they're going up against a USC defense that was not good on third down. They were 106th in the country. You'll see a lot of issues on USC last year on the defensive side of the ball. But Alex Grinch is gone. So maybe that that influence and that change impacts USC. They take a stride. They take strides in those areas. But LSU needs to continue to be elite on third down offense. I think a lot of that was because of having a Heisman winner performance at quarterback, and someone who can scramble regardless if it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 12. You're not going to have that quarterback anymore. So just keeping it reasonable on third down, keeping it manageable, and finding a way to drive it down the field. If LSU continues to be a top tier third down offense, they're going to keep scoring at a ridiculously high pace like they have. It may change the way the offense looks a little bit. It's not going to have the same oomph that it's had in the past. But if they can keep that fundamental, constant down of converting their third downs, LSU will be able to score at a pretty rapid pace again. Now, where LSU fell short last year, where they need to take a pretty big step forward, is that passing defense. So LSU, commonly referred to as DBU, and certainly someone you can see making a claim for that amongst Ohio State and Texas and Florida State. I'm going to throw Clemson in the mix. They got some guys back there, Alabama. LSU, real contender for DBU historically. Finished last year 115th against the pass. That's terrible. And this was an LSU team that, again, had 2 top 5 picks. both on the offensive side of the ball, in a sense, wasted them with a defense that could not defend anything. That pass defense needs to make strides, especially knowing how electric USC is on offense. This is going to be a huge challenge for them out of the gate. And you bring in some players in that secondary. You bring in Jordan Gilbert at safety. He comes in from Texas A&M, or Jordan Gilbert, excuse me. You got some young freshmen in there that are willing to step up. PJ Woodland, Deshaun Spears. So they're adding to a secondary that is, generally speaking, very, very young. Can they make changes? Because what was going on previously was not working. Can it work this year? And can it work in a challenging week 1 situation with all eyes on? It's the only game on that Sunday. There's no competition. There's no other time slot. If you want to watch Clemson, Georgia, or, over Penn State, West Virginia, it means someone may slip through the cracks. But all eyes are on LSU, and all eyes are on USC. All eyes are going to be on that secondary. We're going to see if they look better, or is this going to be the same old defense that lets everyone score on them? And we really got to examine what Brian Kelly's doing with that defense. Time's going to tell, but if that's not improved, LSU is not going to win this game. If it does take a step forward, LSU could be a real threat to win the SEC, but it's all going to come down to this week. This is the first challenge for them on a tough schedule, as always, for LSU. And they want to rewrite their history, knowing that the last 2 years, week 1 has not gone their way at a neutral site against a power team. They want to change that narrative heading into this game. But USC also has some things to prove. This is a very new-look USC team, and coming off a disappointing year last year, what is it going to take for them to right the ship and get Lincoln Riley in a place to, show people that all is well out in LA? So, with USC, I look at their roster, and definitely interested to see what's going on at running back. Obviously, it's a high-power offense any way you look at it. USC as a running attack was outside the top 80. They were 91st overall rushing attack, and now you bring in Woody Marks from Mississippi State, who's presumed to be your top back. Can he be the guy that drives that offense for you on that side of the ball? Obviously, when you think of USC, you think of the high-power passing attack, but you do need a running attack. You do need the ability to get something going. And so far, as of last year, USC was not able to get that done. They are going to need to be able to get it done, especially against LSU. For reference, LSU on run defense was 85th in the country, so not spectacular. So it could be the day that Woody Marks establishes himself as that top running back for USC heading throughout the rest of the season. In terms of what USC does well, you got to air it out, man. I know, again, a lot of that came from having Caleb Williams, a Heisman winner who did not defend his crown. They were a top 5 passing attack last year. You now turn the keys over to Miller Moss. Now, Miller Moss won this starting job with a performance in their Gold Bowl game last year. With all of the issues that USC has as a program, in my eyes, Miller Moss at this time is one of the most rootable quarterbacks that you have in college football. In the era of the transfer portal, when you can just pick up and leave at any given time, this is a kid that sat on the bench, that learned, that embraced the challenge, and rose to the occasion when it mattered most. USC was looking to add Will Howard in the portal. Miller Moss proved to them that they don't need him, that he is serviceable enough to win these games on his shoulders. They don't need to go elsewhere. They got the guy that they need. And he could have gone somewhere after his freshman year. He could have gone to the lower power 4, to the group of 5. He sat back, he learned, and he developed, and it's going to pay off. So I don't think Miller Moss is going to be the quarterback that Caleb Williams was. That's because very few quarterbacks in the country are the quarterback that Caleb Williams was, i.e. a first-round pick and a Heisman winner. I don't think that's the expectation for Miller Moss. I don't think it's the expectation for them to have a top 5 passing offense. But if Miller Moss can just settle into the role, utilize the pass-heavy offense that's already set up for them. They got some very talented receivers over there. Zachariah Branch being the big one. Jacoby Lane, Deuce Robinson, Makai Lemon, plenty of phenomenal receivers, and they're all very, very young as well. Those are all true sophomores. Those are all guys that played as freshmen last year. And now you got an experienced quarterback that doesn't have a lot of game experience, but has a lot of life experience at USC. If those two can match up, and a lot of those guys were probably second string last year and played sparingly, so that chemistry is there. If that evolves early in the season, USC can pose quite a big threat, not just in this game, but contend for the Big Ten. It doesn't have to be a down year for USC. This year is going to be what they make of it, and it's going to be what Lincoln Riley makes of it. In terms of what they need to get better at, USC was terrible at penalties. They were 124th in college football last year out of what was then 133 in total penalties, or penalties per game, however I measured it. But USC has to get disciplined, whether this is a defensive penalty, your offsides, pass interference, face mask, or it's an offensive penalty like false start, holding. Those are drive killers. Especially if you get a big stop on defense and someone over there held and the play gets called back. You false start, backs up 5 yards, and now it's harder for you to get that first down. Those are drive killing plays, drive killing mistakes. If USC corrects those, they get better coached and they get more experienced on all sides of the ball. USC will have a chance to win. I think right now USC is about I think it's a 4 to 6 point underdog from what I've seen. But if those penalties get cleaned up and they end up in the top half of the conference or the top half of college football, USC can be a force to be reckoned with. It's just going to be a matter of, can they do it? We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen a disciplined Lincoln Riley team wherever he's gone. I think one of the criticisms of Lincoln Riley he is the close but no cigar type of head coach, where he'll get you kind of where you want to go, but not all the way. And with USC probably projected to have a little bit of a down year, you can shake that tree, just get things organized for what lies ahead, and get your guys coached up and disciplined enough to not lose you games or make it harder for you to win games. If that's going to be the case, USC can win a tough one in Vegas. But will they? We're going to find out very, very shortly. We get into this prediction. So with that, I'm going to flip it over to my score. And, going to be a tight one any way you look at it. But I will take LSU in this one. High scoring, high flying. And again, a lot of this is based off of last year's data. And I know that's not a super friendly football score, 39-36. Call it 38-35 if you want to. That sounds a little bit more football friendly, right? So 39-36 is the computer score. A lot of that comes off the fact that these are two of the best offenses last year combined with two of the worst defenses last year. So I'm looking at that, and I think LSU wins a tough one in Vegas. USC goes home kind of figuring out what they got to do next. How do they win their conference? How do they beat Notre Dame? There's a lot to play for both of these teams, both this week and beyond. But I think LSU breaks their 2-year neutral site curse on Sundays and gets a win more or less on the road for them. That is old school Pac-12 country, but LSU goes out there, gets the win, and goes back to Baton Rouge, group of happy campers. What do you think about this game? Where am I right? Where am I wrong? What are your keys to the game? Leave me a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, everything like that. So that is it for week one. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for making this a part of your college football week. I am all done with preview videos, so I'm going to just sit back and get ready for our Thursday night kickoffs. We are almost there. Really looking forward to what week one has in store for all of us. So with that, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and tune in next week as I recap everything that happened in week 1, give some accolades out, and get us ready for week 2. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to the start of the season.